There is no substitution for showing up on time, knowing the task at hand, and having an idea that you yourself have come up with. That simple philosophy captures the essence of Tom Hanks more clearly than any award speech ever could. To the world, he is one of the most beloved actors of all time, a symbol of warmth, reliability, and decency. His characters feel trustworthy, familiar, almost comforting, as if they belong to our own lives. But behind that reassuring presence is a man who has lived through profound loneliness, personal regret, health challenges, and the quiet weight of responsibility. His story is not just one of fame or success, but of endurance, reflection, and learning how to remain kind in a world that is rarely gentle. Beyond the iconic roles, audiences know Tom Hanks as the voice of Woody, the earnest heart of Forrest Gump, the steadfast Captain Miller, and the resilient survivor in Castaway. These performances are etched into cultural memory, replayed across generations. Yet what often goes unnoticed is how deeply personal many of these roles are. They are not just performances, they are expressions of lived emotion. Hanks does not disappear into characters through spectacle or exaggeration. Instead, he brings something quieter, something deeply human. That ability did not come from ease or privilege. It came from a life shaped early by instability, adaptation, and emotional observation. A childhood without anchors. Tom Hanks was born in 1956, and by the age of 5, his life was already marked by upheaval. His parents' divorce fractured his sense of home, scattering him and his siblings across different households, relatives, and stepfamilies. Stability was rare. Each move meant new rules, new expectations, and new classrooms where he was once again the unfamiliar face. That constant displacement created a loneliness that followed him throughout childhood. He has often described himself as shy, awkward, and uncertain, a boy who learned to stay quiet because listening felt safer than speaking. Learning to observe the world. Instead of rebelling against his circumstances, Hanks turned inward. He became an observer. In classrooms and living rooms, he watched how people behaved, how they reacted under stress, how they hid their fears behind humor or silence. This habit of observation became his emotional education. While other children formed roots, he learned adaptability. While others found belonging, he learned empathy. That emotional awareness would later become the foundation of his acting, allowing him to portray characters who felt real, because they were shaped by genuine understanding rather than imitation. Loneliness as a creative seed. The isolation of his youth did not harden him. It sensitized him. Many of Hanks's most memorable characters share that same quiet solitude. Whether it is Forrest Gump navigating a world that never fully understands him, or a man stranded alone on an island, forced to confront himself without distraction. These performances resonate because they are not imagined pain. They are remembered emotions. The child who never quite felt at home learned how to translate that feeling into art, giving voice to experiences that many people recognize but struggle to express. The unromantic beginning of a dream. When Tom Hanks decided to pursue acting, there was nothing glamorous about the journey. In the late 1970s, he moved to New York with ambition but very little security. Dreams did not pay rent, and talent alone did not open doors. He took small stage roles, appeared in television pilots that never found an audience, and worked odd jobs just to survive. Rejection became routine. Letters arrived more often than offers, and uncertainty was a constant companion. Yet even in those moments, Hanks approached his work with sincerity, preparation, and respect. Kindness as an unlikely strength. In an industry known for competitiveness and sharp ambition, Hanks stood out for an unexpected reason. He was kind. He arrived on time. He learned his lines. He treated crew members with the same respect as directors. Early on, this politeness was sometimes mistaken for weakness. He was not loud, aggressive, or demanding. But over time, that steadiness became his defining strength. People trusted him. Directors relied on him. Fellow actors felt safe working alongside him. Without realizing it, Hanks was building a reputation that would sustain his career far longer than charisma alone ever could. Gradual recognition and growing confidence. His early television success brought visibility, but not instant respect. Many saw him as a comedic presence, charming but lightweight. Rather than resisting that label, Hanks embraced the opportunity to learn. Each role became a chance to improve, to refine his instincts, to deepen his understanding of storytelling. He did not rush toward validation. He waited, prepared, and trusted that meaningful work would eventually find him. That patience would later allow him to transition into dramatic roles with credibility and emotional depth, redefining what a leading man could be. When Hanks began taking on serious dramatic roles, audiences were surprised, but critics quickly recognized something extraordinary. He brought vulnerability without fragility, strength without arrogance. His performances in films like Philadelphia and Saving Private Ryan demonstrated a willingness to confront pain honestly, without sensationalism. These roles required not just emotional commitment, but physical transformation, and Hanks approached them with the same discipline he brought to everything else. He believed in honoring the story, even when it demanded sacrifice, the physical cost of commitment. Over time, those sacrifices accumulated. Significant weight loss and gain for different roles placed strain on his body, and the long-term effects became part of his reality. Hanks has spoken openly about being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, acknowledging that years of extreme physical changes likely contributed to the condition. Rather than framing it as regret, he treated it as accountability. He adapted his lifestyle, accepted limitations, and continued working with a renewed awareness of balance. Emotional exhaustion. Behind the applause, while audiences celebrated his performances, the emotional toll often remained unseen. Immersing himself in stories of illness, war, survival, and loss required deep emotional access. After filming Wrapped, recovery was not instant. There were moments of fatigue, reflection, and quiet withdrawal. Hanks has never portrayed himself as invulnerable. Instead, he acknowledges that storytelling demands energy, empathy, and recovery. The applause may be loud, but the cost is often paid in silence. Early love and early responsibility. Before fame reshaped his life, Tom Hanks married actress Samantha Luz at a young age. He was barely out of adolescence, suddenly balancing marriage, fatherhood, and an uncertain career. The pressures were immense. Financial strain, emotional immaturity, and professional instability tested their relationship. Ultimately, the marriage ended, leaving Hanks with lingering guilt and reflection. He has spoken about that period not with bitterness, but with honesty, recognizing the ways in which timing and growth shaped outcomes beyond intention. Fatherhood and lingering regret. As a father, Hanks carried concerns that many parents understand but rarely discuss publicly. Divorce changes families in ways that cannot be undone, only navigated. He remained present in his children's lives, yet questioned whether his absence during critical years had lasting effects. That sense of responsibility never faded. It became part of the emotional lens through which he approached both life and work, deepening his portrayals of flawed but loving men. Compassion beyond separation. Despite the end of his marriage to Samantha, Hanks remained compassionate when she later faced serious illness. He supported her privately, choosing dignity over distance. That chapter of his life reflects a recurring theme. Relationships may change form, but responsibility and care do not disappear. It is a quiet integrity that rarely makes headlines, but defines character more clearly than any role ever could. Finding stability with Rita Wilson. When Tom Hanks reunited with Rita Wilson, their connection felt rooted in mutual understanding, rather than youthful idealism. Their marriage became a partnership grounded in respect, humor, and emotional support. Rita provided balance, reminding him that success did not define worth, and that life beyond the screen deserved equal attention. Together, they built a family and a sense of stability that had been missing from his early years. When roles reversed, life tested that partnership when Rita Wilson was diagnosed with breast cancer. Suddenly, the man who often portrayed strength was confronted with vulnerability in its most personal form. Hanks stepped into the role of caregiver with the same dedication he brought to his work, offering support, patience, and presence. The experience deepened their bond, reinforcing that love is not proven in celebration but in endurance. Health challenges in the public eye. In later years, Hanks faced additional health challenges, including illness during a global health crisis. His openness about recovery reflected his ongoing commitment to honesty rather than image. He did not dramatize the experience, nor did he minimize it. He simply acknowledged that health is fragile, even for those who appear strong, and that recovery is rarely linear. Fatherhood's quiet pain. While his professional life remained steady, fatherhood brought moments of private difficulty. Watching one child thrive while another struggled presented emotional challenges no achievement could soften. Hanks chose discretion, protecting his family's privacy while continuing to offer support. It was another reminder that success does not insulate anyone from worry, disappointment, or hope. Endurance. without bitterness. What stands out most about Tom Hanks is not that he endured hardship, but how he did so. There is no bitterness in his reflection, no blame cast outward. Instead, there is accountability, humility, and a persistent belief in showing up fully, even when circumstances are difficult. His resilience is quiet, expressed through consistency rather than spectacle. A career built on trust. Over decades, Hanks has earned something rare in public life: trust. Audiences trust him because his work reflects care, preparation, and sincerity. Colleagues trust him because he respects the craft and the people who support it. That trust is not accidental. It is the result of showing up, again and again, with integrity. Redefining legacy. Tom Hanks's legacy is not defined solely by awards or box office numbers. It is found in the way he navigates difficulty without losing empathy, in the way he acknowledges flaws without self-pity, and in the way he continues to learn rather than retreat. His life reminds us that greatness is not immunity from pain, but the ability to move through it without abandoning compassion. The quiet strength that remains away from the spotlight. Tom Hanks is not a symbol or an icon. He is a man who carries the same uncertainties, responsibilities, and hopes as anyone else. What sets him apart is not perfection, but persistence. He continues to create, to love, and to show up, guided by the same principle he has lived by since the beginning. A human story, not a myth. In the end, Tom Hanks's story is not about tragedy or triumph alone. It is about balance. It is about learning to live with scars rather than hiding them, about finding meaning not in escape, but in engagement. His journey reminds us that behind every familiar face is a complex human life, shaped by choices, circumstances, and the courage to continue. Still, showing up. Perhaps that is his greatest achievement. Through loneliness, illness, family challenges, and the relentless demands of public life, Tom Hanks continues to show up. On time, prepared, thoughtful, and willing to bring something of himself to the moment. That quiet commitment, more than any role, is what makes his story endure.